Most hockey players don't realize that when they lack internal rotation of their hip, especially on their dominant stride leg, that doing internal rotation drills might actually be harmful. A lot of players actually need the opposite, and that is restoring external rotation first. This allows them to actually have access of more internal rotation of their hip. Most players are dominant more on one side, especially if they're powerful more through their stride, their pivot, and their shooting on one leg. When this happens, if you're right side dominant, for example, your pelvis will then turn into your right side. This pushes your hip backwards, creating less room within your hip socket. So when we're left with no more room in our hip socket, when we start to try to use it again, you start to feel a pinch, discomfort, or even just general tightness within one side more than the other. So what we need to do is have more external rotation so the hip head can come forwards to create more space in the hip joint. Self-assessment test to see what side has less internal rotation. You're gonna have your knees slightly bent, knees together, and your feet together. You're going to bring your knees off to one side of your body. When you're doing this, you're taking note of the opposite shoulder if it's coming off the floor. If it does come off the floor, that means that's your end of range of motion and the rest is compensation. The side that we're more freely able to move into without the shoulder compensation is the side that we have less internal rotation on. And this is the side that we're going to work. For this drill, you need a kettlebell and you need to be in a half knee position. The hip that we're working is going to be the leg that's in front of you. Bring that leg in front of you about 45 degrees from your torso. You're going to start with a low to medium weight. What I recommend is about 10 pounds and then working our way up to 15 to 20 to 25. With the working leg, make sure that that foot is holding its proper contacts, being the heel, the big toe, and the pinky toe, staying on the ground at all times. Shifting your center of mass towards that working hip, where you're gonna feel is opening up of the front of the hip and a working of the back of the glute. Pushing your hip into further external rotation to create more room to internally rotate that hip. Some common mistakes through this exercise is your heel lifting off the ground. Think heavy heel. You always wanna make contact with this part of your foot. This will mimic in hockey losing your edge. Your torso leans instead of shifts. This is when you move your spine and not your center of mass. That's something that I need you to do through this exercise since it's important so you're not compensating through your spine. And avoid your knees collapsing inwards. Your knees should always follow your second toe. Do about 8 slow shifts per side for a total of 3 times per week.